Hey you, this is Vicky Jo, and I'm here with Julie Camp. Hello. And Julie's done a lot of academic research and team building, and you work with types, so you're a type professional. So you have a lot of credentials and qualifications and notches in your belt for what you've accomplished.
Yes.
So let's take all that, we're just going to sweep that aside.
Okay,
yeah?
Sounds good.
And let's get to the core. I have, as you know, my INFJ preferences, and you have
INFJ preferences as well.
Great. So let's just go into the core of that. What does that mean to you to have INFJ preferences?
I guess, let me clarify the question.
Uh-huh.
So do you mean like what does it mean to...
You know, you can take that wherever you want. I'm kind of going after like what's the essence of INFJ in your mind? You know, what is the meaning that you hold about that for yourself?
Okay, part of that I guess would just be that most of what finding it hard to put into words, but I guess it would be that much of my sense of self is up here, so that it's this internal thing that's actually very hard to articulate, and most people don't ask that sort of question anyway, but it is, it's mostly up here, and then sometimes I'm surprised to find myself in a real setting, you know, so if I'm really focused, all of a sudden I'm shocked to say, oh, I'm here, or I'm just kind of surprised that when I actually perceive what's really out there rather than what I'm thinking of or living in. So.
And how long have you known your type pattern?
I found out when I was kind of young. I felt lucky, but I was probably maybe 20-ish, and a lot of people around me were using type, and at that time I was a young editor of a newspaper, and it was just a wonderful, wonderful gift because you could, you know, mostly the self-knowledge, to know that you can trust yourself to make your decisions based on whatever information you've got and just go forward. And also the idea of how other people might be presenting themselves or just relating to them on a different level. So I was kind of young, and I feel lucky about that.
And what did knowing that kind of validate for you personally?
For me, it was, there were two things, I think. One was just the confidence to go forward with your decision and trust it. You know, of course, to validate what you know, it's, you know, we rely on the T as well if we have a type audience listening here. So that's an important piece, and it came in very early as well, to know that it's important to trust your perceptions and to just go with your hunches. But if for important things or things that you have the luxury of time for, validate. And then the other thing was, let's see, there were two things. One was
okay, well, we didn't know what
sorry, I got stuck on that one. We said it was, what the question was, what did it validate
for you?
Yeah, yes, it was the confidence of, it was just the confidence to trust yourself. The other thing, I didn't realize that other people didn't see the world the way I did. And I didn't realize that I wouldn't speak up. I wouldn't have spoken up if I hadn't known that. So sometimes seeing in a room, I would think it's obvious what we see or what I saw, that everybody knew that, so they're making decisions knowing that. So that it just made me realize, no, you have to speak up, and people would say, oh.
So can I interrupt you there?
Sure.
So what I think I'm hearing you say is that on some level, type gave you a voice that you didn't have, yeah?
Yeah, give me a voice, and also the knowledge that you need to speak up about it. Because I would have I would have just assumed that everybody is making this decision as a group.
Yeah, like we all know this is the thing, and it's understood, it's in the space, and yet it's not.
And particularly it might be being a young person in a role of responsibility, have a publisher whose preferences were probably ISTJ, and he was a really good listener. So I did learn to speak up, and it was often the foreseeing thing, the consequences of something that's like, oh, and it just struck me so many times that that's probably obvious to many of us, but it wasn't to him.
Right,
so it was helpful that way.
Yeah. So I'm really getting the sense of like, you know, this is my intuition, it's in my head, and oh yeah, maybe I need to share that.
Yes.
And having the almost like license or not even license, but the need, that you know, you want to hear your voice, you have something to contribute.
Yes.
So now take me into extroverted feeling. Tell me about how, what does that mean for you?
You For me, I love stories. I love to hear people's, I just love to hear their stories, and I love to hear why, anything almost about them. So I'm a questioner. I just love that aspect of it, and I guess I just like to understand people from whatever perspectives that you're able to. So I would usually ask questions about things that interest me. I think I could talk to almost anybody through the questioning technique. So for me, it's that, and then I guess the ability to understand them on whatever level we're after. So for me, that's great fun. And then other people, when they reflect back to me, it's like, wow, you are a focused listener. Or some people would say things like that I would assume, again, from being a young person, I would assume that most people are focused listeners, but maybe that's not true. Yeah.
So, and what I'm hearing you say there is that you might seem like an extrovert because of that ability to connect. Is that accurate?
Yes, and also that little antenna. I don't want anybody to feel left out. So that if there's just very consciously, I remember being in kindergarten doing this. If there's somebody alone, just think, oh, here, or going to that person, just not wanting them to feel left out. And
so there's that inclusive sense of the whole group and wanting to enroll them and bring them in.
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
So talk to me about sensing.
Of course, we all do sensing.
I think I'm here. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So let me tell you my version of a really difficult thing. It's going into a Myers department or grocery store, department store, whatever. I know they're not all over the country, but it's just gigantic warehouse type selling everything. And it's noisy and loud, and actually it's sort of fun in a way when I first start off. I'm fascinated by everything you can find in one spot, and I'm going through, but it's frustrating if I'm in a hurry because I can't find what I need, and then often I think that I've gone through it, I've done it all, and I've even looked at all 12 brands of something, picked out my perfect thing, so thrilled that I found it, get home and realize I grabbed the wrong thing off the shelf, and then for like the first 5 years that I used to go there, I would end up with a headache, and there's people to navigate around, but I would notice and I have another one. I have a habit of taking other people's carts in the stores and not noticing, and it's gotten so bad I'm not even embarrassed anymore. And in my own local store, I did it 3 times to the same person on different occasions.
You wanted her cart.
It was like months apart though. It was so embarrassing, and it was. By the 3rd time I wasn't embarrassed, but it was like he even told his wife, "Oh, this is the one who steals my cart."
There's a reputation.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Does that sound familiar to you?
It does. There's a little, I haven't stolen carts lately, but there's definitely resonance there, and certainly that whole sense of kind of being snowblind by all of the kaleidoscope of possibilities that are in front.
Yes.
And wanting to shut that down, slow it down so I can.
Yes. That's it.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. So we just have a few more minutes left. So as you know, people are watching this. What would you like to communicate to them, especially if they're trying to decide if they have INFJ preferences or some other preferences, or what's important? I just want to give you a moment to...
Well, for people, I guess it would be that the sense of the introverted intuition is the sense of flow you get when there's no interruptions, and whatever it is that you're doing, you're not aware of. It could 10 hours could go by or 2 minutes, and it feels the same to you. It's because you're just so into whatever it is, and it's not like there's a conscious thought going on there. Or it could be mundane, like I'm just going over a grocery list. Or one of my favorite things is, in some ways, is pulling weeds in my garden, and it's not like I do get that satisfaction of let's get that, but then it sort of goes away what I'm actually doing, and then I'll find out that time is just going, and it's just, you just kind of lose yourself in whatever. The importance of just giving yourself that time to ruminate. I wouldn't even consciously call it meditation or reflection or anything.
Right. It's just being in that trance
just in that
state.
And the importance of that. And if that rings true for you, I would think that you probably at least have an introvert intuition that part is true.
Yeah, I totally relate to that.
Yeah.
I used to be a key puncher, and I'd go, and it was like 8 hours of just repetitive stuff, but the chance to go into my trance was fantastic.
Yeah.
Julie, thank you so much for doing
You're
this.
welcome. Great question.
Great. And I hope this helps you, and I hope you've enjoyed listening to two INFJs in one space. How rare is that? So we'll talk to you later.